have a chance. Thank you very much. I want everybody to have a chance to get say what they need to say, and also I want to get to the police report right away. So this is June 24th, and I'd like to call the meeting to order. And we have sent out the minutes of the last meeting. Does anybody have any changes or anything to comment on the minutes? Okay, I don't see any hands, so I move that we call the meeting to order. Edie, just nod because you're eating peanut. Oh, you're not eating peanuts. You're eating. Thank you. Edie is definitely allergic to peanuts, so that's not what she's eating. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get started and welcome Sergeant Moody. It's been a couple months. I know you guys are real busy, and we're glad to have you back on. If you'll unmute and tell us what's going on with the police report.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Actually, I got promoted last June, and I'm a lieutenant now, and I took over basically Lieutenant Desch's spot. So I'm in his office now as we speak, but now it's my office. So I will be in charge of the Southern District, and so that it obviously includes Point Richmond. So just happy to be back with you guys. I like to see these familiar faces. We just had a new deployment that started on the 12th. And Officer Nguyen, who is on, he has all the stats, and he'll go over the stats with you. But just wanted to say hi and say I'm happy to be back. And if you guys have anything, my desk line is the same desk line that Disha's had. So please feel free to call me if you need anything. So, and also wanted to say thank you, Philip and Lisa and everybody else who advocated for our AB 481 report. You being there and sticking up for us and talking to City Council was instrumental in us getting that approved and having us being able to keep the equipment that we need in order to keep everybody safe and do the job that we need to do. So we appreciate you guys.
And we appreciate you. Lieutenant Moody, can I shoot one thing at you that's sort of outside my neighborhood?
Yes, sir.
And many of us shop at Costco.
Mm-hmm.
And we notice that where Central Avenue curves to go to the dog park,
yes,
there are gigantic trucks, campers, tractor trailers. Everything is parked there.
Okay.
I am neutral about whether or not Richmond should be a free parking zone for everybody's giant commercial vehicles. But what I'm not neutral about is when you make that right-hand turn to enter the gas station, you can't see people coming and going out of that driveway.
Okay.
It looks like a few of others have had that experience. So those vehicles, I don't know what the solution is, whether or not they be tagged, and we cut this off. It's gotten way out of hand. Lisa Johnson used to actually be on this constantly.
Okay.
And it's not in our neighborhood, but I think it's important for safety. Or whether or not there's a red curb leading up to that right-hand turn into the gas station. Can you visualize that corner?
Yeah. Absolutely. Sure can. I'll talk to parking enforcement and our traffic unit, and we'll start addressing that.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
and let's go on with the police report.
Oh, one question. Can you remind me, Lieutenant Moody, was it on the agenda last night for CORE to get the additional resources? And was that approved?
I don't think they covered it. It probably got pushed because I didn't hear it.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Now, anybody else for Lieutenant Moody before he heads out? Okay. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is the police report. If you will unmute yourself. It looks like you're in your car, maybe.
Yeah, I am. How you guys doing? I just want to thank you guys for having me and allowing me to be a part of you guys' meeting. So I'm Officer Nguyen. I just recently started this deployment. I'm actually fairly new to this beat. I'm still familiarizing myself with the area and its little pockets that it has. But for the last 30 days, we had approximately 113 calls for service. There were 69 incident reports, 20 arrests, and 5 citations. For the top 10 incident reports, there were mostly involving mental illness, auto burgs, stolen vehicles, grand thefts, and 2 assaults with deadly weapons. 2 other assaults on other persons, and commercial burglaries.
And are you doing the beat patrol for Point Richmond?
Yeah, so whenever I have time, I like to drive around just to get familiar with the roads because I'm not too familiarized with it yet.
So I will extend an invitation that when you have time, if you have time, I'm happy to drive the neighborhood with you, show you some of our problem areas,
Yes,
show
sir.
you some of the weirdness of the way the roads work in the hills. That might make it a little easier for you if you get called out because the GPS in the hills is not always 100% reliable. It's confusing up there.
Yeah, I tend to get lost up there. I've been lost a few times.
Yeah, that's kind of normal. One of the things I'd like to point out is we're continuing to have trouble with the Todd Hotel. You're new here. That is the brick building at the railroad tracks on West Richmond, across from the pub. I am working with Michelle Malam almost on a weekly basis to see if we can mitigate the problem. We can talk one-on-one a little bit more. You can talk to your colleagues about the problems that generate from that single room occupancy, which tends to be sort of an epicenter of problems in the point. Drug dealers live there, other types of criminals live there, and nice people live there as well. They have 40 rooms. And there's this sort of triangle between under the freeway at the end of Railroad Avenue and Tewksbury, where our homeless encampments are. And that facility, and Castro Street, which is the other place where people enter because that's the other side of the freeway encampment. So the neighbors know about it. I'm happy to introduce you if we ever have a chance to do a little ride along. I'll show you some of our problem areas. We are also noticing Lieutenant Moody and Officer, pronounce it again for me.
Nguyen.
Owen.
Yeah, that's good, sir.
Well, I want to get it right. We are also seeing a dramatic increase in drug related and mental illness with a ever increasing homeless population. There are times when we will see 3 or 4 new homeless people living here in 1 week. And we have about 3,000 residents. So this is a small community to absorb that much homelessness. We continue to see people coming in off the buses because the bus from Oakland ends at that intersection of Castro and Tewksbury. It is the last stop from Oakland, and it is the first stop from Marin. So it is not uncommon to see folks who are really in desperate need get off the bus, and they're clearly homeless, and then they just sort of assimilate under the freeway. And somebody is also asking about traffic parked on Dornan where it says no parking. Annie, can you be more specific? Is that through the tunnel?
So it's on the Point Richmond side. No, Point Rich. I'm sorry. Let me backtrack. It's on the Richmond side yacht club between the end of the tunnel and Brickyard Cove Road. There is cars parked every weekend, Saturday, Sunday, from the end of the tunnel all the way to the yellow house, the Ramblers there. And it says no parking anytime. There is dozens and dozens of cars on a regular basis. And not only they park there, but they make UE on double lines. So it is very, very dangerous.
Thanks. I can second that. Many of us and the people who live in Brickyard Cove can. So that's the area along Miller Knox Park.
I'm familiar with
Yeah,
that.
it says no parking, not anytime. So why are these cars not ticketed and why are we allowing it?
Okay, I'll definitely send out an email out to all my other B partners about
Great.
these problems, and we'll definitely try to address that.
That would be wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Are there any more questions or comments or concerns?
No, but just welcome, Officer Nguyen.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I appreciate it.
And this was a short one, not too many complaints, and they're all the usuals. So welcome to our neighborhood. everybody's got my email over at RPD, Michelle, and certainly Lieutenant Moody. So if you want to get in touch and you find yourself with time, I'm happy to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if you're allowed, we'll buy you coffee.
I appreciate that, sir. I'll look forward to talking to you guys soon. Okay.
And
All right,
Lieutenant
thank you.
Moody, Lieutenant
Thank you.
Moody,
Yes,
it
ma'am.
was approved. It was approved last night. I texted you the info.
Oh, fantastic. That's good to
Yep.
hear. I'm
Yep.
sure, I think Michelle's on, isn't she? She was probably
Yeah,
gonna talk.
Michelle and Lena.
Okay, I'm sure she's going to talk about it. So
Yep.
fantastic. Well, thank you, everybody. Hopefully I'll get to see you at National Night Out.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, onward we go with the president's report. It was nice to have, for those of you who haven't been around, we haven't had the police lately. They've been working many overtime shifts, and it looks like we do have a new beat officer. Just a quick note, the neighborhood council presidents were hacked. Our computer or our emails were hacked. If you receive anything from the PRNC.PRES@gmail, which is the Gmail I use for the PRNC, and it asks you to open an invitation, please delete it. Okay. It's a phishing scam. The regular emails that you receive with the newsletters and the notices that Edie sends out, that's the normal looking one. You don't have to do anything to open those. So if you happen to get something that is like a mystery email, please delete it at once and don't open it. In a little while, we'll hear from Justin Kirby from Clean Harbors, who will introduce himself in a little bit. We are going to call a special meeting. Justin works with Clean Harbors, which is a business that's been in our community for 55 years. They're over approximately 55 years. They're over in the port. The city has asked him to come before us, but they didn't give him much notice. So we're just going to call a meeting in a couple of weeks, and we're just going to have a 30-minute discussion. They want to let people know that they would like to be receiving sealed containers from local hospitals. They're in the business of redistributing or transporting waste. So those sealed containers will be coming to their warehouse, and then they'll immediately be shipped out to another state where they'll be destroyed. So it's not a big deal, but it's very important to us that when the city puts people in front of us that we respond, because if we don't, then the city stops putting people in front of us. So be on the lookout for that special meeting. It'll be a 30-minute meeting just to cover that. We didn't have time to wedge it in today. And it's very important to us that we give you 7 to 10 days notice of any meeting. It's in our bylaws. So we want to make sure that we don't just surprise you with guests. I was really pleased to attend the city council meeting where Caesar Cepeda sponsored a proclamation making it Maxine Finley, our local Smiling Crossing Guard. The city of Richmond has recognized her that it will be Maxine Finley Week, the week of August 24th. We did the presentation early because the city council is off next month. So it was touching. The PRNC gave her a gigantic bouquet of flowers and invited the community to drop by to congratulate her right on Maxine Finley Corner, which is the corner, catty corner from the plunge, the corner of Girard and East Richmond Avenue. We're going to have a party for her. And we're just going to, during her regular shift, we're going to congratulate her from 1:30 until 3 o'clock on Monday, the 24th. So we'll send out a little flyer about it, and you'll see posters and flyers around the community. We're going to serve the refreshments. I did not know that Maxine, as a crossing guard, works for the police department, not for the city or for the school district. So that surprised me. So come by for refreshments, and the police chief has promised that he will send an officer or a substitute crossing guard so that she doesn't have to work during her own little party. So we just hope you'll come by. It's going to be pretty casual. If you do come by, the PTA is helping out, and Pram is helping out, and the school is helping out. There may be a lot of kids. So we're just asking, if you got a free hand, help us serve lemonade. It's not a big deal. We don't need giant volunteer effort, but let's just make it a party for the probably kindest and most welcoming Welcome to Point Richmond ambassador that we have. We can also join the PRNC at a tent at the Plunge celebration on Saturday, August 15th. That's the grand celebration for the 100th anniversary of the Plunge. We'll be there from 10 o'clock to noon. We're going to set up a tent and give out lollipops to the kids. There'll be some free gifts if you join the PRNC, if you're not a member at that time. And other neighborhood organizations will be there. So I know that the History Association is going to be there selling Plunge ornaments. And other neighborhood it's not a big deal. If you want to stand at our tent and represent your organization, just come on by. It's one small tent and 2 tables, so send one representative. It'll be crowded in there. So that's Saturday the 15th at the Plunge from 10 o'clock to noon. And Dumpster Day is the 29th, Saturday, from 8 o'clock to 12. It is the regular routine lineup along Cutting Boulevard by the dog park, by Judge Carroll Park, sorry about that, and make the right turn on Wine Street. Anything larger, any dump larger than will fit in the back of a pickup truck will be turned away. We say no box trucks. If you have a box truck and you're a local resident, as long as it's not full, you can physically have the truck, but you can't fill the truck. And if you have any yard waste, it must be in bags. That was a huge problem for us last time, as somebody took over an hour to unload, and it backed up everything. So the city will be turning you away if you have too much stuff. Please stick with the spirit. We will ask for donations. It's totally optional, and we definitely need volunteers because several of our board members are not going to be able to be there. They're traveling. So that's the president's report, and we will move on to the treasurer's report. Margie is not with us. So we'll catch up with the treasurer's report next meeting, with a reminder that we will have no regular meeting next month. The only output we have is some printing and posters for the Maxine celebration. And we have somebody working on the wigwags right now. They're stripping them and repainting them. That money is covered by the dumpster bay funds from the last dumpster day. So you'll see that work in progress. My painter who does my house volunteered to do it at absolute cost. So we're paying about 1/3 of what it was going to cost to redo the wigwags. So you'll see that unfolding in the next week or two. So there's a check that will be $1,000 or less. We're waiting to see where the paint price is going to come in. So that's the outlay. I see a text from something from Kate. I'll pick it up in a minute. So we're without Margie, and also Eric was called away at the last minute. So we will also get an update on membership from Eric at the next meeting. That generally only changes by a couple of people, so not dramatic. And now we can move right on. I see Hillel here. I know that you are traveling.
Hello, Philip. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. And we have Azadeh from GHD Consulting. And guess what? We are talking about roads again.
Amazing. Beautiful subject. I mean, yeah, we're looking forward. But anyway, thanks for having us, Philip. It's 6 a.m. in Tel Aviv right now. So I'm very excited to... Shalom. And yes, it's the second meeting that we're having here with you guys all, and we're gonna give you a little bit of update from the last meeting. We conducted a survey, and Azadeh, she prepared a presentation, and she's gonna walk us through and talk about the results and engagement with the residents of Point Richmond. So yes, I'm gonna hand it to her. Azadeh, it's all yours.
Thank you, and thank you, everyone. We're happy to be here. I'll just share my screen. Please let me know if you can see it. Does everyone have my screen?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for everyone. Thank you and good evening. My name is Azadeh. I'm a senior transportation engineer and I'm a project manager with GHD, so the consultant working with the City of Richmond on this project. We really appreciate everyone taking the time to be here, and more importantly, everyone who participated the past month by completing our survey, visiting the project website. Tonight, we'll share a little bit of what we heard from the community. We'll walk through the proposed improvements, and we'll talk about what's going to come next in this project. So at our last meeting in May, we introduced the project and we discussed the traffic issues that are affecting Point Richmond. Since then, we've completed another phase of public outreach. The project website was available for approximately 5 weeks. It gave a chance to everyone to complete the prioritization survey, and many of you left valuable comments on the interactive map as well. So thank you everyone who participated. Before I jump into the results of the survey, I'd just like to briefly remind everyone why we're here. The project began because of increasing cut-through traffic, which was associated with the congestion on westbound I-580 approaching the Richmond Sapphire Village in the morning, especially during the peak hours, so between 7 to 9 a.m. So when the freeway traffic backs up during the morning commute, many of the drivers, they leave the freeway and they travel through Point Richmond neighborhood to just bypass this congestion. And the roads showed here on Railroad and Santa Fe are two of the main ones that they use to bypass this congestion. So our goal really here is to slow them down on Railroad, on Santa Fe, and on Washington, which is the 3 routes they have to take to bypass this congestion and get back on the highway. So based on our engineering analysis, field observations, previous studies, and your feedback, we've identified 6 recommended improvements along with modification to signal timing plans at 2 locations that are shown here. I'll just briefly go through each one again, just to remind us what they were. At Santa Fe and Cottage, we recommended a channelization improvement, which included pavement markings and flexible delineators. This treatment better organizes turning movements and it helps discourage shortcut traffic while remaining very quick to implement. At Washington and Park, the recommendation was a directional channelization island, which was combined with a raised crosswalk. This concept again helps organize vehicle movements and it improves pedestrian visibility and slows turning speeds at what many of you described as a very confusing intersection. At Richmond and Washington, the proposed concept is a potential raised intersection. So a raised intersection slows vehicles approaching from every direction while improving pedestrian crossing. This concept, of course, requires additional investigation during design, especially related to drainage and ADA requirements. At Richmond and Park, 2 raised crosswalks were recommended. So these crosswalks provide safer pedestrian crossing while also encouraging drivers to reduce speed as they approach the intersection. And at Richmond and Santa Fe, we were proposing a traffic circle. So the goal of the traffic circle is to reduce speed, improve safety, and also organize traffic movements. And finally, along Railroad Avenue, we are proposing several speed tables along the road. So unlike traditional speed bumps, speed tables are actually designed to reduce vehicle speeds while remaining comfortable for bicycles, transit, emergency vehicles, and delivery vehicles. And with all these concepts, the final design will have to evaluate space, emergency access, truck turning, movements, drainage, and ADA compliance before anything is finalized. So, what we heard from you. Throughout the outreach process, several consistent themes emerged. You told us safety remains the highest priority. Reducing speed and discouraging cut-through traffic were also major concerns. We heard that preserving the character of Point Richmond is important. Improving pedestrian accessibility and making practical improvements that provide meaningful safety benefits were also important. Finally, many of you reminded us the freeway congestion is the cause of these issues, and we completely agree. this project cannot solve regional congestion, but what it can do is it can make the neighborhood streets safer and less attractive as shortcut roads. And that is the main goal of this project again. So one of the goals of this outreach was to understand which concepts the community supports the most. Overall, we got mixed feedbacks, which we expected. When you're discussing any changes in established neighborhood like yours, it's natural for people to have different opinions. But there was a trend. So the strongest support was for Washington and Park, Richmond and Washington, Richmond and Park, and Santa Fe and Cottage. These concepts generally receive more favorable feedback while they focus because they're focused on improving pedestrian safety and organizing vehicle movements. The traffic circle and the speed tables generated a bit more discussion and a wider range of opinions. So we will continue gathering feedbacks on these concepts before moving forward. So this brings us to the end of this phase of community outreach. Tonight, we're not here to make final decisions. We came here to share with you what we heard and show that your feedback will influence the recommended concepts. But over the coming months, we'll begin coordinating these recommendations with the city's Downtown Point Richmond Bicycle Connectivity Project, just to make sure our improvement works together and we are avoiding any conflicts. We will begin developing 35% design concepts, which will answer many of your questions, such as, will this fit here? The ADA accessibility questions, emergency vehicle access, parking, utilities, whether or not we can actually construct it. So once they've been developed, we'll come back, we'll share what we learned, and we'll show you how these concepts have evolved. And we'll continue gathering your feedback before we move to the final design. So at this point, I'd like to thank everyone again for taking the time to participate. We really appreciate it. And I would just like to open the floor for discussion. If you have any questions, comments before we move to the next stage of design, we would appreciate it. We would love to hear it.
And let me add as well, Philip, we did tremendous outreach. We reached out to the businesses, but we were anticipating more and more engagement. And unfortunately, it was not that many, but at least with what we got, we were able to consolidate those recommended solution that the community want us to proceed. But here again, we want to hear from you guys and see if we reach a consensus and move forward with those recommendations. Just to keep in mind, the funding is coming from BATA, which is MTC, and we have to commit. There's a deadline to proceed and to use those funds, otherwise they're going to get lost. But nonetheless, hearing you and just really pushing forward and see what solution really can help in improving and impeding motorists to drive through the Point Richmond is very crucial. Yes, and definitely engagement with the other project that Gail is running, or my colleague with the city of Richmond for the bike trail. As long as it doesn't conflict her recommendation and ours. So a tight collaboration here on that side.
Thanks. I'm going to hop in real quick and thank you, Hillel. I will second the fact that it's quite disappointing. We do get responses and we get active responses, but it is really disappointing that we can seldom break 20 people at one of these meetings. And it was a frustration from CSW, who is working on the connectivity project simultaneously. So I urge you folks, the PRNC is doing the best we can to get the news out. The city is doing the best we can. For any of you who continue to spend hours on Nextdoor complaining about the problems in our community, take one of those hours from your social media time and show up and take these surveys, because once these things go in, they're not going out. And so the city has been working really hard, and the complicated thing that I see that Hillel just mentioned, and I want to make sure to get to the community and not make this meeting about me, is that I have been following this because I have such a concern about evacuation routes. And I went to, just so Hillel knows, because I haven't had a chance to speak to him, we had a board of directors meeting, and the board of directors of the PRNC has encouraged me to continue to hammer home this question about what the fire department and the police department, not whether or not a fire truck can enter a bike lane. We know they can. But what kind of accommodations are being made? And even at a recent walkthrough, when we were talking about the hypothetical of Park Place becoming one way, which is highly unlikely, it's been discussed for decades. Bruce Brayard and I were having a conversation with the meeting about what way Park Place should go in case of evacuation. And I said, obviously, it needs to run towards the freeway. And Bruce said, obviously, it needs to run in the other direction. What about if people are trying to evacuate from Chevron? And so I thought that that perfectly illustrated the fact that unless we continue to overlay these evacuation routes or proposed evacuation routes, we can't really solve the problem if we don't know what the fire department and the police department and emergency services want us to do. So that's going to continue to be an issue that I am going to continue to advocate for. If there are people in this community who do not want me to advocate for this evacuation route overlay, and I've received some incredibly hostile feedback concerning my continued desire to pursue this point, vote me out and please run, because I'm ready to take a step aside and let somebody else take over for me. But that's really important. So the other thing I wanted to mention that Hillel has commented on, and also Azadeh, is that we do have two simultaneous projects. Many of the things, and I don't know what you see, Azadeh, many of the things that Hillel and the city and those of us who are participating track, and just neighbors, people like James who are really knowledgeable about traffic, what we do see is that a lot of these points are overlapping, which means we may be able to fund some of things like crosswalks and raised crosswalks that everybody wants. Maybe we can get the money from here so that we can use connectivity money elsewhere to improve.
Absolutely.
So that's really up to Hillel to make sure that he's overlapping with GHD, Azadeh's company, and with CSW. Unfortunately, we have lost Jessie Marin. She has moved, and she was kind of a key component, but there's lots of people in place. So with that, I'll let the community speak, and then I'm going to mention to Azadeh some of the things that we discussed in the other meetings that people didn't like and things that they did like. So let's go ahead to the community. Edie?
If you want to share the presentation again one more time, Azadeh, the recommendation, what they voted on.
Sorry, Edie, we can't hear you. I'm not sure, maybe others can, but
Can you hear me?
I
Yes, but Edie, there you go. Edie, you're not coming through, although you're unmuted. Can we skip to Bruce and come back to you? Bruce?
I just want, can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, good. I just want to say I think the GHD work and the recommendations and priorities make a lot of sense. They'll be very good for pedestrian safety in Point Richmond, and perhaps slow down cut through traffic also. I haven't seen cut through traffic much personally, but I guess it happens. But regardless of that, I think these recommendations make sense, and would encourage GHD to proceed to the next steps.
Bruce, as somebody who has really got his, I mean, there are a few people in the city who know more about the connectivity project. Is there anything that you see here that conflicts with Trac's recommendations or their thoughts, because
Well,
hopefully everything's gonna overlap.
no, I think that it's great that if these projects would go, these specific improvements would go ahead with MTC funding, because that means there'd be more, it'd be possible to do more with the city's limited funding for the Point Richmond bicycle pedestrian safety work that CSW is working on.
Right, that makes sense.
Thanks. And I am, by the way, with the help of Lisa Johnson, who doesn't know this because we mentioned it and then dropped it, I'm going to be talking to the city a little bit more about the possibility of trying to get a variance from BNSF. Good luck, but it's possible, so that because we want that a separated bike lane, and there is somebody in the city, and Lisa and I will talk about it offline. There is somebody in the city who can offer BNSF some possible benefits in exchange for enough room to put a dedicated bike lane along the BNS property and Park Place. It's pie in the sky, but I want you to know it's a priority for me to try to reach out to the city to see if we can kind of proactively not give up on that idea, which is overwhelmingly popular. Edie, let's try you again.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So while I agree in general with the overall, most popular to least popular, and I'm certainly 100% in support of the work that you're doing in order for traffic calming and making sure that our streets are much safer for pedestrians and bicycles and other users, and that it slows down vehicle traffic. At the same time, I do want to point out that I think that the most pernicious problem within Point Richmond when it comes to traffic is the backup. When things back up on the freeway, there is spillover, and then you have just utter gridlock in downtown Point Richmond. And traffic, it's already very calm. It's because it's not moving. It's already gridlocked. They're calming it any further. You can't go any further from stopped, and can't get any slower than stopped. And that's what we've had problems with, that I've had problems with getting into and out of Point Richmond, especially in the morning commutes and in the afternoon commutes, but mostly in the morning commutes. And I recognize that that's something that is mostly going to be addressed by the connectivity project and not by this. But I do want to make sure that you're aware, at least from my humble opinion, that this is really a necessary thing, but it is very much not the most troubling thing to Point Richmond residents when it comes to traffic.
Thank
So
you.
just to clarify, connectivity is just going to focus only on bike lanes, so it won't really tackle the cut through or the measure to impede the motorists to drive through the Point Richmond.
Oh, I'm
Our
sorry.
recommendation.
I thought that the connectivity project was also dealing with things like changing the traffic lights on Canal and
No, that's
on
us.
Cutting. That is you.
That's
Okay.
yeah.
So, all
That is
right.
us.
So it's a confusing situation anyway.
Yeah.
Where are we on that? Was that not brought up at all? Is actually trying to keep the traffic from Point Richmond before it even gets to the traffic circles and the raised crosswalks?
Yes, that is correct. So the signal timing changes would be at Cutting and Canal and Cutting and Harbor. And what we're planning to do is we're making it very undesirable for people basically to want to get here. And so it would be a temporary morning peak hour adjustment. And hopefully, and the nice thing about signal timing is it's very cheap, right? So we can implement it, we can see it if it works or not, we can always reverse it, right? Or we can tweak it. So that's the nice thing about this. I'm curious, Edie, where are you seeing that congestion in the morning that you're talking about? Are we talking about Cutting here or?
No, well, I'm seeing it on Cutting. I'm seeing it on East Richmond going down Railroad, and then East Richmond turning right onto Santa Fe. Generally speaking, it's, essentially Tewksbury. It's because people are getting off the freeway thinking that they can cut through and bypass the backup traffic to the toll plaza.
Right.
And it
And
just
that's the whole point of this project.
Right. That's as much as and I love the fact that we are going to get improved crosswalks and that we are going to have, traffic circles so that people don't blow through things. Really, what it comes down to is the gridlock that comes along those routes. And just, it's already calm. It's stopped. That's the problem.
I may be able to clarify today's point, which is that one of the reasons that this backup occurs, particularly with GPS, is that people see this as a viable, either they believe it's viable or GPS is telling them that's a viable alternative. And so these things that will all add to traffic safety will also make it unattractive for people to use our community as a cut through. So you're
That's exactly the
absolutely
intention. Yeah.
yeah, you're absolutely correct. It has gotten actually better after the pandemic because maybe less people are traveling. But now, as we see people returning to their offices, the problem is coming back just a little bit. So that's particularly slowing down those traffic lights is for the purpose of GPS. Because I believe Azadeh, was it something like 3 minutes more makes the difference in what GPS suggests? Am I correct?
Even a minute. So we looked at it. We used big data platforms. Basically tracks a lot of phones, cars, and we actually tracked them. So we said, okay, so let's say I'll actually share with the group what we looked at. So we looked at right here at Marina Parkway. So we said, okay, let's assume someone's traveling from here and going all the way past Point Richmond to here.
FYI, we don't, am I not seeing it, or is it up there? Is anyone else seeing her display?
Does everyone
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So it would just to explain, so it would be east of Marina, and let's say it's going past of Richmond on 580 in the morning. So these platforms, they tell us what other routes are people taking other than this if their destination is 580. So many people were going through Cutting and going through Point Richmond to get on Castro. There were other routes. Some are just jumping off ramps and getting back on. Some are just taking different routes through Point Richmond. So we did use big data platforms to look at all these and just to see what is it that the GPS is doing during the rush hour and telling people to do during the rush hour. And as Philip pointed, the beauty of this project is that it will make Point Richmond less attractive to these drivers and at the same time provide many safety benefits for the neighborhood.
Edie, can I go to Lisa or do you have anything else?
No, that's fine. It's just that, I guess my final comment on it is that it is, I can say this as somebody who does commute every single day. This is 100% driven by apps. This is driven by Google Maps. This is driven by Tesla. This is driven by Waze. So making sure that those times are demonstrably different to such a degree that those apps no longer recommend, because honestly, it's lovely to think that people actually look out their window and actually use their minds when they're commuting. They don't. They go by what the app tells them to. So regardless of what they see, they're going to go use what the app tells them. So as long as we can get those times down so that the apps no longer recommend Point Richmond as a viable cut through, that's going to be the magic pill that makes this happen.
And
Thanks,
that is, but it might take a while for these apps to learn and realize this.
Lisa.
All right, 3 comments and a question. So I don't know if you guys are still wanting community feedback, but I posted something, and I don't know if Caesar's listening or on another call, but I don't know if he gets a different subset of community members that come to
I'm
his.
listening, by the way.
Okay. If you get a different subset or more community members that attend your area town halls, and if so, if it would be worth calling one of those and having city staff present at that to try to get additional feedback, because as Philip and you guys explained, it's really challenging to get people to participate in these surveys. And so I'm just trying to figure out other avenues to augment the participation if you're still taking feedback. The second thing was halal. Okay, so I know in 2022 and still in 2023, and I believe even into 2024, the federal government was offering grants and funding for projects near railroads. And this was for safety measures, including fencing and stuff like that. So we were exploring it because of Spring Street and along Carlson Boulevard, with a lot of the homeless people getting hit or injured or killed by the trains running along Carlson. And there's also the fence along Railroad Avenue. The homeless people have routinely cut through those fence lines and gotten railroad ties. So there's a safety aspect that the federal government was actually funding. And if, Philip, you mentioned something you said you'd talk to me and bring me up to speed on, but I don't know if there's another avenue to help if there's not enough funding with the current level of funding, Halal, if there's an opportunity to reach out to the federal government through BNSF to explore that for safety reasons because of people getting near their railroad lines. So that is possibly something. And Samantha Carr was the one who knew about that. So that's one thing, Halal, to maybe talk to Samantha about. I don't know.
Absolutely. What's your third one? Was it this is
The third one was, and I don't know what your guys' process throughout this has been, but Philip, emergency ingress and egress has been such a huge issue, and we've never had the city honor the resolution it passed in 2008 for people locked in by the trains on Cutting and Canal. And so, as you guys have been putting this plan together, how has fire and police been engaged and involved in the stress point testing when traffic is backed up? And then there's emergency, and we have the holy grail of events where there's trains on railroad, there's a train blocking Garrard, Cutting, and Canal, and they're landlocked because they can't even get out of the fire station to take the alternate route with the 580 on-ramp off of Tewksbury up to Canal and to come in that way. So that is the stressor point test. And where have you guys with fire and police sat down and gone through that as you guys are mapping out these traffic calming events and bike routes and planning? Because that, to me, is a critical choke point in testing this and getting that input up front as soon as possible.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. So let me answer the first one, if you don't mind, Philip. Your first question was about the community engagement, and we're happy if we, if Council Member Caesar wants us to meet or certain people, we can do that. We still have time, but a short time. Let's put it that way. And if we can get more additional comments or feedback, I'll be for it 100%. Your second comment was the grants. So my colleague, we have a senior transportation planner. She's applying for those grants, and hopefully one of those grants, or not the grants, but one of those locations that we're talking about with BNSF, hopefully, if we get the money, we can implement some of them. But dealing with BNSF is not easy, as you are aware. So and encroaching into the right of way that triggers another thing. So we're trying to enhance the crossing. As part of the grant, if we get it, we applied for a grant for almost like $25 million. We'll see what the feds, if they like us. Hopefully. So yeah, we're looking, we're pushing, we're looking around, we're contemplating. We have strategies to move forward and how to effectively enhance this. Your third one was as far as coordinating with the fire and PD. Definitely, as you're aware, right now we're just really gathering all the information to hear from the resident, to hear from the community what's best, what do you guys want to see. And definitely, since we got some recommendation, now the next step is taking it and coordinating with the fire, police, and getting their insight and see if it's applicable. We have like 5-6 recommendation based on the survey that we conducted. So we'll see. Maybe we cannot implement all 6. Maybe we can implement 3 or 2 of them. Yeah. But it was crucial for us to hear what the community wants to see. At least as a baseline to move forward.
And my campaign, which has been handled not by you ever, Hillel, but by your colleagues with open hostility and almost mocking disrespect, is that we cannot possibly discuss what could happen in the emergency situation and how any of these changes, bike lanes, crosswalks, traffic circles, any of this, we cannot possibly say everything's going to be fine if the city refuses to present to us what they see as our evacuation routes. So to say it's no problem, but we don't have anything to discuss with you is unsatisfactory. So that is something I'm going to continue to fight. All of this is important, but we need to make sure that in an emergency, if there's a train on the tracks, the gridlock will not disallow the emergency vehicles from coming. And myself and definitely Lisa Johnson have literally spent hundreds of hours on this problem.
Right.
And
actually, as
we can take offline with Caesar.
Right.
And I think we need a new set of meetings, and we need meetings with people who are not trying to shut those meetings down.
And actually, as you're aware, we received some funds from council to do or to enhance the cutting with the traffic signs, with at least in case of like blockage or with the train and stuff like that, people can still do U-turns and whatsoever. So a lot of
that's the third project at CSW, and I'm grateful because most of those suggestions were suggestions that I took from the community, gave to Public Works and CSW, and so I was happy to see them. They're a good start, but let's not have to backtrack on the next step. So I want to continue to beat that horse. I will continue to beat it, but I don't want to take up time beating it in this meeting. Yeah, and James, I think you had your hand up.
We already veered off to another topic, but I was just putting my swing barrier idea out there. So remember, the police used to put out those barriers, and you neck people off if they can't go northbound on Castro past Tewksbury. They're done. Word will get around. Instead of making Point Richmond look like downtown Seattle, you just block it over there. Probably can eliminate a lot of the traffic calming.
Azadeh, can you capture James's comment from the chat? And James has met previously on this topic with traffic engineers, and I'm sure would be happy to show you again what his idea is. A long time ago. That's
as you guys are aware, Castro Street, in that on-ramp to 580, it's Caltrans right away, so there's not much we can do there. We can, talk to them, but there's a project that they are working on. They're gonna introduce a second left turn on Castro to the on-ramp for 580, and that's in the planning phase right now. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I think that James, I agree that there might be a mechanical solution there, but I think it's difficult for people to understand verbally because you're a technical mind. So I understand because you showed me. So that might be something worth looking at again, just to see if we can find a mechanical solution on that particular corner, which was we pointed out during the bike lane conversation last month as well.
Yeah, the second turn lane pocket might help, but it'd be more of a mirage because at the end of the day, you have one lane at the top that's going to feed into the freeway. But there's not really much we can do there. I understand.
Peter? Oh, sorry.
The only concern with that, James, would be it will also be closed off to local traffic as well, right? So like what you're suggesting is great, but we're basically putting a traffic barrier for everybody at this point, right? So what I'm understanding is that you're suggesting that, well, as Halal mentioned, this is Caltrans right away. What you're suggesting is basically closing it off so that nobody can get through. Is that what I mentioned? Is that correct?
James, you are muted.
Well, if you look, like I said, if you look at the street signs off of Santa Fe and off of Castro Street at Tewksbury, it'll say right turn only between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. So technically, it's already legally closed off to residents to leave in that direction. Just the traffic or mechanical barrier would just enforce that.
It's a miracle what you just did. Right. So what James is suggesting is
Go to
not making
Castro.
any changes. It's eliminating illegal use. Is that what you're suggesting, James? That people
Yes,
are making the
for
illegal
the
turn?
drivers that are ignoring those signs.
Right.
And the
Right.
police used to barricade that, if you remember, and block it off anyway. The whole Caltrans thing on the traffic island, I've heard about this. I remember the city used to go back and forth over those street signs that would get knocked down. Technically, that is Caltrans. Definitely that island is. I'm aware of that. Just as I'm speaking as a resident who's been trapped in my driveway for hours when these knuckleheads come up and make illegal U-turns, and used to be effective when the police were there, but there was a defunding and the traffic unit was dissolved. Anyway, I'm done ranting, so go ahead.
It's not a rant, James. It's legitimate because I've seen your plan and I understand it because you showed me. The other thing is that the unfortunate unicorn is when people say, well, it's really up to traffic, RPD to patrol that until people stop this illegal activity. And that's always frustrating because we know that they don't have the manpower. So that's a passing of the buck that is not a realistic solution. Thanks, James. And Azadeh, we can get anyone in touch. It's worth considering, and there may be even a different solution than James is coming up with that would slow down that illegal activity. Peter?
Yeah.
You were fine and now you're muted.
There we go. Yeah, James had suggested a mechanical solution to something that I suggested in the text, which is if you just close off, even temporarily, the entrance to the freeway on Castro and force everybody to use Canal or Harbor Way, that would eliminate the incentive for people to use the point to do these turnarounds. I know it would be inconvenient, but it sounds like, I mean, I don't live in the point, but it sounds like the inconvenience of this traffic gridlock is probably more than the inconvenience of driving a couple blocks to get on the freeway would be. I mean, I use that entrance all the time. I really like it in my sports cars. It's a fun one to race up, but that doesn't, I mean, it's it's obviously too attractive to people who are stuck in their cars waiting to get onto the bridge. And until they eliminate the old bridge tolls and traffic starts to move more smoothly across the bridge, I think maybe closing that entrance temporarily, or even maybe every other day, so that people aren't sure what's going to happen if they get off the freeway. Um, anyway, that's just it. I don't think any of these. I don't think speed bumps or signs are going to really affect the the traffic gridlock in any meaningful way.
Closing freeway on-ramps would be a very big deal with Caltrans.
It is, yeah, definitely.
Thank you,
Well,
Peter.
but maybe there's a more diplomatic way to handle it. Um, we control the streets. We might not control the entrances. We control the streets. So
Thank you, Peter. Are there any more questions so that we can let Hillel get a cup of coffee, because it's now not at 7 o'clock in the morning where he is,
Yes.
and Azadeh can go back to her life. Any more questions? I thank you all for participating. You can always email me, and I'll forward it. And obviously, Hillel is very receptive and responsive to the community. Looks like we can say good night or good morning, Hillel. Good night, Azadeh. Thank you so much. We look forward to participating in any future continued research on this.
Thank you, Philip. And we look forward to receiving emails. We will look forward to them for the next week at least before we start the design process. So please let us know if you have any other concerns, suggestions, ideas. We would love to hear them.
Thank you so much, Azadeh. I appreciate it. It's nice to see you again.
Good night.
Good night, yes. Take care.
Okay, so now we have our special guest.
Did we just lose?
Sorry, I'm back.
Okay, all right. Sorry.
So now I want to introduce Justin Kirby, and I want to do something that I try not to do. I had an opportunity to talk to Justin several times. The city kind of threw Justin for a loop, asking him to come before us on something that's time sensitive. And so we couldn't really have him do a full presentation. But we will do a 30-minute. We're just going to call a special meeting only on this as soon as we can get enough officers to commit. We may not even have a quorum, but a few officers will need to be present. And then we're going to take a vote. I do want to say we don't really have a lot of time for you to ask questions of Justin. He's going to introduce the project, and then he's going to come back with more information and questions and answers. In reality, when I first got the email, I got all upset by the terminology. And then I realized the whole thing was kind of a nothing burger as far as community is concerned. So I just want to let you know, it is important for us that the city continue to come to us when there are going to be changes in our community. But I think that this is a very small ask from Justin and his company. So I'll introduce Justin Kirby, who is joining us from Clean Harbor, which is located in the port.
Thanks, Phil. And I'm going to share my screen for a short presentation I made as an introduction. So, all right. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So thank you for taking the time for speaking with me. Like Phil said, my name is Justin Kirby. I'm the Vice President of Central Environmental Compliance at Clean Harbors, and I'm here to discuss a proposed operational change at our existing facility located at 801 Wharf Street in Richmond. Safety Clean is a Clean Harbors company, and it's been a part of the Richmond community since 1956. And in this slide, this is a aerial footage or aerial photograph of our facility as it stands today. So this is the warehouse that we intend to make some projected changes to our operations. Our proposal is straightforward. We're working with the city for approval to move a new material stream, regulated medical waste, through the facility warehouse. This is a service that Safety Clean already performs safely throughout California and across the country. Today, our Richmond facility safely serves local industries and commercial businesses by moving materials through the warehouse and transportation network. And with this project, trucks will continue to move materials to and from the site using the same facility, what would allow us to provide an important service to hospitals, clinics, laboratories, and other healthcare providers throughout the region. This project is expected to create up to 10 new jobs within Richmond at the start, with additional expected as this volume increases over time. And as an environmental safety company, the health and environment of our community is a priority. So we've applied for a permit with the city and the Department of Public Health to perform this work, and wanted to meet with you directly to see what questions you'd have in our subsequent meeting. And we're willing to provide any information that you guys may request, and go from there.
That's it, Justin?
Yeah, that's all I have for today.
Okay.
I have additional information for our next meeting, and I'll forward that to you, Phil. It'll include a contact email for.
So it's not a big mystery. Do you mind if I recap what I understand?
Absolutely.
Okay, so this firm has been around for a long time. They will be receiving from hospitals medical waste that it will be in sealed containers. The sealed containers will come into their, which is what they do already for other types of things. The sealed containers will, and just correct me if I'm wrong, the sealed containers will come into your facility, then they will go from the receiving trucks into your trucks, and they will leave the state for disposal. Is that correct?
Correct. It'll go through our network to the end disposal location outside of Richmond.
Okay, so in that case, basically you're transporting sealed containers.
Correct. It'll be taken off a truck and put onto another truck to leave the facility.
Okay. Lisa, I know that we hope to have a better presentation. Do you have a quick question?
It's quick. If I was understanding the map view, you guys are at the end of Wharf, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So Philip, we need to talk to him behind the scenes, because he can help put pressure on making sure that the Knox box and the emergency route through the parking lots is finally enforced.
Okay, that's great.
Because you guys are 100% impacted, because the emergency route for all of police and fire to get into every business south of Cutting and off of Canal has to enter through Cutting and cut through the car lots, and it goes directly by that entrance gate right there before you get to your facility off of Wharf. And that route is constantly blocked by trains, and the Knox box is not present on the Cutting Boulevard gate. So we have never had that route in place since 2008, and it's against the law. And your company is directly impacted by not having access to emergency vehicles in the event it's required.
So I think it would be great if Lisa and Justin and I have a meeting. That is an important fact, and I would love to use your successful 70-year-old business in our community to advocate for that, and it should happen. But it wouldn't affect this operation.
No.
So I want to clarify for both Justin and the community. It's two separate conversations.
Yeah, it's just safety for everybody, including this business.
Absolutely.
I want to say something that, there are people, since I've been doing this unpaid job for 4 years, there are people I feel really good about, certain members of the community that have really been involved. And I just want to say, Justin, I really felt you were very straightforward, and, have expressed a desire to assist us in some of our goals at the neighborhood council. So I think that if we can advocate for something above and beyond this project, that's something we can talk about. And Lisa is, you don't know her. She is the single, in the best way, wonkiest person I've ever met. She is just a human computer of facts and knowledge and analysis. So, anyway, for the community, look out for a special meeting announcement. We'll get a longer presentation from Justin. I don't think there are going to be a lot of questions, but we will do that to facilitate. And I'm very excited if it can make some jobs in our community. So just be on the lookout for that short special meeting that we're holding, and join me in thanking the PRNC board, because next month is our month off and we're doing 6 activities. So, so it may be our busiest month of the year. Justin, I'll talk to you after I talk to the officers. We'll make a date. We'll throw in a new Zoom meeting and see your full presentation. Thank you for your patience in waiting to get to your turn tonight.
Well, and thank you for accommodating.
Oh, pleasure. It's absolutely a pleasure. We're running a few minutes late, but we can move forward. So be on the lookout for the email from Justin. Charmaine, any reports from CERT today?
I have nothing to report today.
All right. Yeah, we just picked up our time. The Bonnie Joe.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I have a new screen and I can't see anyone. So
I'm here. Well, I have some exciting news. Jim Davis and Mike Cooper mounted a new historical plaque this morning. This is for the Old Point Theater, which is now the building that Massa occupies. And Johnny Bermudez, the owner of the building and the owner of Massa, was really cooperative, very excited about having a plaque on his building. It is a very handsome plaque, and it is on the side that borders East Richmond, on that building along the side of that building. So stop by, take a look at it. It's really nice. And I want to thank Mike Cooper again for lending his expertise to mount these plaques for us. Wanted to mention that that Susan White at the West Side branch of the Richmond Public Library has organized a talk on the history of the plunge, which will take place on Wednesday, August the 12th at 6 o'clock in the community center. Another part of the whole 100th anniversary of the plunge celebration. And I want to thank Philip for arranging to have the wigwag stands spruced up. That was really really nice of you to get somebody to I don't know if anybody notices those stands, but they were pretty beat up, and they're gonna look really nice. And we will have those wigwags wigging and wagging at the opening of the outdoor ceremonies of the plunges celebration on August 15th. So it'll be, shortly before 10 o'clock or something. So they'll be wigging and wagging. Thank you, Philip, for arranging for that.
It's my pleasure, Bonnie. And I'm really excited about that joyous. That's a noise, but the way we use it is a joyous noise now. It's because we only do it for celebrations. It has to be manually operated. And that few kind of mechanical nerds, James included, who make that happen, who really make those wigwags operate manually, are much appreciated as well. Margie is not here. Is there anyone involved with Arts of Point Richmond who has a comment they'd like to make? Okay, we're picking up some time. Kate texted me that she was having trouble getting in because Zoom changes all the time, but she didn't give me anything to pass on. Layla, do you want to comment on PRAM, PTA, or anything child involved?
Just getting ready for summer to end and school to start next month. Right after the plunge ceremony, I believe we start the 18th at the school. So, and then look forward to celebrating Miss Maxine, who keeps all the kids safe.
So take a look for this flyer and posters around. And what we hope to do is we're going to serve refreshments. What we really want to do is just get the community to come and wave back at her. If you drive by and you see her that week, give her a little toot. Don't drive the neighbors crazy with a horn, but give her a little toot and come and say hi and just crash that event on Monday, the 24th. And just come and say hi and have some lemonade. She's 84 years old. And she is walking with a walker now. So I'm not sure how much longer she's going to be protecting our kids and being an ambassador to the neighborhood, but she will certainly go as long as she can. So it's just really important. And I also wanted to thank the Gateway Foundation because we got a grant to fix that corner up, and that included some money for this celebration. Anybody doing anything with homeowners? I guess it's you again, Charmaine.
There's nothing that I know about right now. I haven't heard anything, so.
No news is good news, and stay unmuted. By the way, your hair looks, I love your hairstyle. It looks great. Could you just go right into LUDRC? This was an
Yeah, I'd be
easy
happy
one.
to. So the LUDRC met last night, and the purpose of the meeting was that the maskers needs to add a restroom. And this is going to be an all gender, all disabilities kind of restroom. There are two restrooms in the front in the lobby area, but they need another restroom for two reasons. One is for actors and production crew and anybody in the backstage, because this is going to be located at the back of the building. And the second reason is if someone with disabilities needs a little more space, like for a wheelchair, then this bathroom's going to be big enough to take care of that for them. So the LUDRC found that this does not impact any part of the historical aspects of the building and serves a good purpose and does not impact any of the neighbors. So the access will be going through the building. There's no outside access, but it will be added to the back of the building. The LUDRC approves this project with no conditions. We had a vote. Nobody voted against it, and there are no outstanding questions or conditions. So tonight, for the membership, we should have a vote. And we recommend that you approve this project. It's a pretty simple, straightforward project. We're mostly concerned if there is anything to do with the historical aspects of the building, but there isn't. So we recommend that you vote to approve it.
Thank you. Edie, are you with us? Edie? Edie? We lost Edie, and consequently, we lost our ability to take a vote. Here we are. If you could just toss up the vote on the to approve the LUDRC's acceptance of the new restroom. There we go. So, community, if you'll just vote yes or no, if you are an active member of the PRNC. That means you're a paid member or you have been waived. Your fee has been waived, but you're an active PRNC member. If you are not an active member, please do not vote. And we'll give it another 45 seconds. Again, yes just tells me to go ahead and send a letter to the city saying that we love the maskers and we know they need a new restroom. And there's no objection. Okay, let's give it another 15 seconds. Okie dokie. Can you give us our results, Edie? Okay, we have unanimous vote. Thank you very much, Charmaine, and for Peter and other LUDRC members. That's an easy letter to write, one sentence tomorrow. That'll go out to the city and to the maskers tomorrow. And let's move on with speak of the day.
Happen to know? I know it's 100% unanimous. Do we have a number? Was it 20 people who voted? Do you see that, Edie?
Yes, it is 12 people who voted, 12 in favor.
Thank you.
Thanks for asking, Anna. We don't do it the old-fashioned way anymore. Maskers, anyone? Jim, do you want to comment?
Yeah, some quick notes to continue the Maskers theme. Little Shop of Horrors ends this weekend. All performances are sold out. So do get your tickets early if you're thinking about any Maskers production. This is going to be followed by Vanya and Sonia and Masha and Spike. That production will open September 4th, close September 27th. This is the first play directed by Shay Oglesby Smith, who has done a lot with the Maskers, and this is her first time directing. It's $35 general admission and $30 students and seniors. I do have a special announcement connected with the Maskers, and that is many of you have been enjoying Barber Sam Charles's, the Park Place Barber, his jazz performances that are once a month in his barbershop. He will be shifting to the Maskers Theater for jazz and have the Noel Jukes Trio will appear. That's October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. He's just come out publication of that, so it's a big step toward a larger venue, and we just hope that a lot of you can go to that. And that's
Jim, will you try to remind me if you have a flyer? Try to remember to send it to me. I'll forget to ask because that sounds really like something we should publicize.
It is. It's very unusual. I don't know whether this is going to be the first of a series or not. I may be kind of a trial balloon, but I know Sam's very excited about it. I've talked to him about it a couple of times. I'm a fan of the jazz. The only problem is it hits exactly when the film series on the ship does. So
Jim is frozen up.
That they make themselves. It's really special that we have this in our community.
Yeah, I think that's great. Try to remind me. I was at the neighborhood coordinating council, but I'll let Peter report if Cordell reached out to you.
Yes, he sent me his report, and he said that there were 6 people on Zoom, 7 people on the dais, 3 in the audience. They had folks from the West County Wastewater District to present their programs. City staff gave their reports. There was no old business, and under new business, suggestions to invite Caltrans and the railroad companies to present on the trains. He also suggested having Logan Robertson to present on home match, whatever that is. But anyway, that's it.
Thanks. And generally, for those of you who don't know, that is the coordinating council is where we go, the officers from the different neighborhood councils, since they help us to communicate. And it's sometimes hard to get a lot of people there. Sometimes I miss it as well. Gary, I think you're still gone. Gary said that he was going to be on the road. So I'll just do a quick pitch. Obviously, you see that the plunge is getting spruced up for the 100th anniversary celebration on Saturday the 15th. And of course, Gary and Maren Hurlbut from the Hurlbut Foundation spent a lot of time coordinating, and a great deal of the money from their personal foundation. They continue to maintain that corner. In conjunction, the PRNC with help of the Gateway Foundation helped to smudge Carroll Park. We hired gardeners to redo the mulch, which was failing. They had to dig it out and change it because it was just blowing all over the place, and do some gardening. And then the next part of that will be the Maxine Finley celebration. So that's kind of tied in together because technically the Herbold Foundation has adopted that corner of Judge Carroll Park as well with their endless benevolence. Women's West Side. Hi, Julie. I actually see you on my screen. Do you want to unmute?
I'm working on that unmuting.
Good job.
Yeah, took a minute. How are you? Anyway, we are going to have a table at the plunge event. So some of our members will be there. We're also we did not meet in July, so we don't have a lot to report. We were down at the park doing gardening or the triangle on Tuesday, and we got it cleaned up pretty well. So we do have some issues with the irrigation system, but we're looking into some resolution for that.
Do you have all the right contacts? Because we can certainly connect you.
Yes, and if not, I promise to reach out. But
Sure.
that's all I have. We resume our regular meetings the first Tuesday after Labor Day.
Julie, do you have what is your setup going to be at the plunge? Because they had initially said they didn't have room for community organizations.
Oh, well, I need to pass that on. I'm not part of that. I'll pass it on to Diane.
Okay.
Actually, Philip, this is Cheryl Willis here, and I'm with the women's group as well. We're not going to have a table. We're just going to be there, 3 or 4 of us, with some little brochures about the Women's West Side Improvement Club.
Okay, great. And feel free to hang out with us because we don't need a lot of room. We have a tent, but we'll only have one room for one person behind. But we're going to bring a separate table for History Association U, and whoever shows up, the more the merrier. I have been asked to speak at that event, which surprised me a lot. I have a few minutes, and I will be spending that few minutes talking about our neighborhood organizations, kind of welcoming people into the community, how our organizations help to increase our local businesses. I have 5 minutes, so that's usually just me saying hi. And just so you all know, I really want to throw a lot of love to the Hurlbut Foundation. So I think that one of the reasons the city asked me to speak was that it was easy for me to acknowledge those organizations and people in our community who kind of keep that area going. And that includes Women's West Side. You don't really garden the plunge, but you garden the neighborhood. And these are the people who will pick up a beer can when they walk their dog, and see a beer can on the ground. It's just, we're the ones who can't help ourselves, right? So thanks for filling in, but you can certainly join us. And we picked up a lot of time today. Ping pong, Peter. You're muted.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, well, we had about, I think about 10 people at ping pong Monday, so it was pretty good turnout. And I think everybody left probably around 8, but I still always like to encourage people to come play ping pong at the Point San Pablo Yacht Club, which is on West Cutting over there near the corner across from the Chevron gas station. We start playing at 5. It's free. We have 2 tables. When we get too many people, we switch from singles to doubles. And it's as much a social event as it is ping pong. So
you think?
I highly recommend people to come out. It's just a nice way to meet your neighbors. Low impact exercise, and
cocktails.
The drinks are cheap. Excuse me, Anna?
I said in cocktails. Don't forget that.
And cocktails. Yes, I am the bartender as well as the ringmaster. So, okay, that's it.
I'm going to buy you a top hat and a whip. Oh, wait, you can get the whip from Sue. Just kidding. And then Jim again.
Excuse me?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I forget somebody?
Did somebody else want to?
No, hi.
I'm going to come back to the Red Oak victory because I think we leapfrogged that earlier.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know
That's
how I
okay.
am.
Because there's something for everyone this month. Western Swing Pancake Breakfast, August 9th. And then we have the special Summer Film Festival. We're doing Raiders of the Lost Ark, a good family film. That's August 20th, Thursday at 6:30, $10 donation. We're begging for it. And then a dance, the Dust Up Dance on August 22nd at 6 o'clock for $35. Rosie the Riveter, I have two talks coming up on American Homefront, one on clothing and the other on food. So they sort of go together. And that'll be happening, the clothing one on the 13th of August at 2:30 and the food one on August 30th, Sunday at 2:30. That's at the Rosie Riveter Visitor Center, 1414 Harbor Way South.
Jim,
Free. Everything's free.
Can you fluff that out a little bit? Like, are you talking about the styles of clothing that were being worn by civilians or?
Everything. Styles, rationing, substitute clothing. I'm going to be talking about using parachutes to make wedding dresses. All kinds of things. Feed sacks to make clothes. It was an exciting time for fashion, and also a fashion shift from Paris to New York.
That's exciting. Oh, so it's totally different. Jim, thanks. If you haven't seen Jim in person, there is nothing but delightful when he speaks. Um, and Rose, and if you haven't been to Rosie, surprisingly, a lot of our people in our very neighborhood don't go there. It's quite wonderful. Thank you for filling us in. And we are in pretty good shape time wise, surprisingly, even with a special 5-minute guest. Anybody have any public forum that they'd like to discuss? Any new residents, new members, or new businesses? No? It looks like I don't see any hands. Are there any celebrations or remembrances? No? Well, I can't believe we're really on time. So it's 9:04. We have 26 extra minutes to have a kickback before dinner time. We'll take a look for that little presentation on the warehousing situation. I actually think it's not a big deal, but I did want to present it and respect that the city, and I'm glad that the city is putting anything that happens in our community in front of us. And we'll just get a couple officers together. We'll do a quick 30 minutes. If any have, so basically, I only expect that the people who have questions will attend. If we don't have a great attendance, we'll take a vote. Then the officers will discuss it and will support the initiative or not based on who does come. And Edie doesn't know this, but we are going to be sending out a bunch of MailChimp, newsletters, not really newsletters, but we'll send out some flyers and reminders about the activities that are going on. And concerning this situation or with the warehousing, I will send his presentation forward so that if you can attend, so that you can decide if you even care, if you want to attend. I think most of you won't care. But if you care and you have any questions, you can send them to me. You can attend the meeting. You can always just answer the feedback. So, and I'll get with the officers on that in the next couple of days to see. There need to be at least 3 of us there for that meeting, I think is fair. So thank you all for joining us. We get our month off, so we only have 6 activities. And then our next meeting will be in the end of September, and it is likely to be maybe a split presentation. They want the bike lane people want to come back and present again, but also the city wants to present on Keller Beach Sewer Project, and I think that that's really important. To clarify where they are and to talk about the holding tanks. So, and I think we all need a break from roads. So that's where we are. Everybody have a great summer. We'll see you on the 15th at the Plunge, on the 24th to celebrate Maxime. Oh, one more thing I do want to mention. If you're coming to Dumpster Day, please, if you can, particularly if you have a truck, check with a couple neighbors. See if they have anything that they need. See if we can consolidate to make things a little bit easier. If you have senior neighbors, disabled neighbors, who might need a little extra help, maybe you can help. We do need volunteers for that day to help us unload cars and move things along. And also, if you're on the way to the dumpster day and you see someone dumped a chair on the corner, toss it in the back of your vehicle. Okay. It's a good opportunity for us to kind of clean up that community a little bit if we each take one piece off the street. So we'll see you on all those things next month. And thank you so much for joining
Hey,
us this evening.
Philip.
Thank you,
Yes.
Phil.
One thing the community might want to be aware of, because I don't know if it'll happen before the September PRNC meeting, but the council keeps pushing forward the discussion on what they're going to do with Veolia management and the new contract. So it's been on the agenda and continued a couple times. So that may come up in September before the next meeting. So y'all might want to just pay attention to the city council calendar when they come back from recess if you're interested in hearing what the city's going to consider doing regarding management of Veolia's, of this Richmond Municipal Sewer District.
Thank you. It does appear that they're considering options.
Yeah, Lisa, if you want to talk with me after the meeting, I do have not much insight, but I have some insight from the inside regarding that. So if you want to hang out afterwards.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great summer. And Ahmad, hi. You were hidden in the back of my screen. Nice shirt. Robert Graham, I think.
You're absolutely correct. And thank you, Point Richmond, for all you do. Very great meeting, informative. And I'll tell you some of the voices your voice has shared a lot of the concerns around emergency preparedness, which is throughout the city, the routes, the bikes, the traffics. But the voices, the people are important, should be listened to, and then move forward with the assessment and transparency of how the job's going to be done. So thank you for your time.
Thanks for
Take
coming,
care.
Ahmad.
Bye-bye, y'all. Have a great summer, the rest of the summer.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
And meeting is adjourned at 9:09 p.m.